Hi, I'm Nick. Today we are at PAX Australia 2022, and today we are going to be interviewing some game developers. Right, let's not wait for the grass to grow, let's go for it. Hello everyone, I am joined here by Peter here, creator of The Amazing Chicken Adventures, a game full of chicken and surprises, and who doesn't love a good chicken game, am I right?
That's right, everybody loves chicken.
So please, tell me about yourself.
Sure, so my name is Piotr Hala. I'm natively from Poland. I've been living in Australia for the last 10 years. And 2 years ago, I decided to make a video game with my 3 kids about a chicken. So that's the result of it.
Yeah. It's also an interesting thing because what I've been seeing here with the gameplay looks very smooth, very crisp. How did you even manage to get the music onto the game? Because I saw that there's a copyrighted and all that.
Yeah, so there's this great charity called museopen.org. And what they do is that they get people in a room, they record the famous symphonies, and then they release it for free for everyone to use.
Oh wow.
Because these pieces were recorded in 1600s.
Oh, of course.
So there's no copyright on them. But the artists that make it, they want effectively for that music to be part of the world, part of the culture. So this game effectively helps promote classical music in a gaming world. So that's what I did. Yeah.
So, because you mentioned culture and all that, I noticed on your website that you said that you have Slavic mythology in there. So, what inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I was born and raised in Poland, so I'm Polish. So I wanted I wanted the game to represent, I guess, my culture, where I come from. So that's why, especially the farm area is inspired by my grandfather's farm.
Oh.
So you start a game, you're in a farm area, and a lot of plants and what you see there is effectively inspired by my heritage, by my childhood, growing up in Poland. And my personal logo, which is this one.
Oh yeah.
It's actually inspired
really nice.
by Polish art of folding and cutting paper.
Yeah.
So it sort of features this symmetric design, and again, that's inspired by my Polish.
What made you choose a chicken for a mascot?
What made me choose a chicken? When I started prototyping the game, I knew I wanted to have a rolling mechanic, and I figured, well, it would be cool to roll an egg.
Yeah.
And what creature is it better to roll an egg than a chicken?
Yeah. The creature that invented the egg.
That's right.
Exactly.
So it was everything sort of emerged in this game. I didn't plan anything. Once I started working on it, all kind of came up to me. So there was no plan. It was all just keep going at it, and it all emerged. It was created without any specific plan.
And speaking of which, what was your favorite moment of making this game?
Favorite moment? Working with my kids. So I had 3 kids, twin boys, and my twin boys actually informed the co-op in the game. So when I started working on it, it was only the chicken, but then my sons were like, Daddy, we want to play together. So I had to add the co-op. So working with the kids, having them play tested, validate the design, was the highlight for me, just bonding with them, working together.
Yeah, and it brings the whole family together.
That's
and helps
right.
out with the development too.
A lot of time spent on the pads, playing together.
Of course. Yeah. What was the most hardest part of making this game though?
Yeah, so the hardest part is probably the stuff I'm like the weakest at. So I'm still learning sound engineering, for instance. So sound engineering was really, really hard. And the other bit was just consistency. So to get to this point, I had to work for 2 years straight, every single day.
Every day?
Yeah, so I had this, my only rule was work every day. Rain or shine, Saturday or Sunday. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. If it's 16 hours, it's 16 hours.
And any time as long as
But as long as every single day, progress happens. So that was, the consistency was the hard bit. Yeah.
So when does this game come out? That's what everyone wants to know.
Yep, so it's already available on Steam and Xbox. And it's coming to Nintendo Switch next month.
Oh!
And it's coming to PlayStation in Q1 next year.
Ah, yeah. You heard it from him, folks. That's when the game comes out. Keep an eye on it. Make sure you go on his website to learn more information about the game. And is there anything else you want to say before we end this interview?
Well, thank you so much for checking out my indie pod. I hope you like the game. I hope your audience will enjoy it as well. And come and check out some amazing chicken adventures. It's a pretty fun game for kids of all ages.
Hello, I am joined again by Sam from Ultrakill and of the New Blood Interactive.
Yes, that's correct.
So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm one of the 3D artists in the project. I handle things like Gabriel, V1, hideous mass and a bunch of the earlier enemies.
Tell me about the game Ultrakill. For those who do not know about it, because I already know about it, but for those who don't know, tell me about it.
Okay, so Ultrakill is a very fast-paced movement FPS. Essentially, you enter an arena, it closes off, spawns a ton of enemies, and you have to defeat them as stylishly as possible by combining complex movement and weapon mechanics to achieve different effects.
So, because you said you were a 3D artist, what's probably one of your favorite things about making this game?
Honestly, by far, just honestly the art style. So we're doing very much a PS1 sort of art style. So low poly baked pixel art. Even though we do that, we do a full high to low poly PBR workflow. This gives us lots of freedom and let's have a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
I've also seen a lot as well that this game was massively received when it came out, which is pretty impressive, I would say. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh yeah, honestly, we all love it. So honestly, the team was so surprised by it, but we love the reception. Honestly, the fan art is brilliant. Like, honestly, everyone seems to love it. Honestly, if you look it up, there's countless fan arts on like Twitter and so on. There's like SFMs, there's videos, there's everything. It's blown up way past what we expected. Honestly, the speedrunning and YouTube community has blown up with it as well. We mostly thank everyone that plays it. Honestly, if it weren't for them, it wouldn't be half as popular as it is now.
What was the hardest part of the game when you were making it?
So, on the outside, probably things like larger things like say bosses and so on, because they're perfect, as well as story-based characters. Like Gabriel went through a lot of iterations in both design and game modeling, just to make sure it's perfect. But if I had to guess, I would definitely say boss fights, because like this is just me assuming. But I would assume he'll go through a lot of iterations and testing just to make sure they feel right.
Now, I've always wanted to know this. What was the inspiration behind Ultrakill?
I think a big one for my teacher would have to be Devil May Cry, and you can really tell. So otherwise, I think it's only just a love for really just solid FPS that focus purely on just combat and mechanics.
When does this game come out, though, for those who do not know?
So I can't answer that question yet, so it's basically when it's done. But Act 1, Act 2 and Cybergrind are currently available on Steam for $35 on early access.
Is there any future projects for New Blood or for Ultrakill, so like say an Ultrakill 2 or a DLC?
I'm afraid that I cannot say anything without one way or the other, because honestly I don't have a clue for that one.
That's all good. I have a friend of mine from America who really loves your game a lot.
Oh, definitely. So what's your friend's name?
Jakey.
Okay, so Jakey, thanks.
Ultrakill, definitely do try out this game. If you're a big lover of shooters and all that sort, definitely do check it out. It is so cool. Hi, we're joined here by Jim of the Massive Monster. Yes, the art director of Massive Monster. How have you been?
Yeah, been good. Been enjoying PAX, selling lots of merch. We sold out of merch in like a couple of hours. It's been kind of crazy. Lots of people coming to check the game out. It's been great.
Yeah, I saw that. Just instantly, all the shirts and everything just sold out. It's crazy to know that so many people love the Lamb. Tell us all about it. For those who do not know about Cult of the Lamb, obviously I know about it, but for those who do not know about it, please explain.
Yeah, so it's a game where you play as a possessed lamb, and you have to start your own cult of woodland worshippers. So it's kind of like a mashup of a roguelike and a colony simulator game. So you kind of go out into these dark dungeons and fight enemies and collect resources and find new followers to recruit to your cult. And then you go back home and indoctrinate the new followers. And you need to look after them, you need to build houses for them, cook them food, clean up after them. You can build a temple and perform sermons.
But tell us, what's the inspiration, what's the story behind the Lamb?
So I think we started like wanting to mix those two genres together, and we went through a lot of different ideas trying to figure out what kind of theme to wrap around that. I think the idea of cults came about, and the idea of kind of starting your own cult, and then the lamb sort of was an obvious. We wanted it to be an animal because we thought it was we liked the idea of it being a cult of different animals, and that they can all look different and be different colours, and it's kind of a bit more interesting than humans. And then the lamb just seemed like a good choice because of like all the religious connotations, like from the Bible and the lamb and the resurrection and all that kind of thing.
Oh yes. What was your favorite thing working on this game? Because you said that you're an art director. What was the best thing you've ever had working on this game?
So I really enjoyed doing the animations, like I think particularly the big sort of set piece moments, like when you sacrifice a follower and they float up and the big tentacle kind of grabs them. That was really fun to do. And then I mean, when you fight the big bosses, you kind of meet them in their temple and they do a little ritual and all their followers around them sort of sacrifice themselves, and then they do these huge like transformation animations where they turn into these monstrous versions of themselves. So we kind of call those like trailer moments during the development. Like we wanted some big moments that would kind of make the trailer stand out. So they were really fun to work on. And I think just like designing all the followers was really fun, drawing those, all the stupid animals.
Well, how was the development cycle? Was it challenging, or was it?
It was very challenging, yeah. So it took us 4 years to make. Jay, actually, who's just over there, like 4 years ago, brought us a very rough prototype of the Cult of the Lamb. So that's when we kind of first started talking about it, and then yeah, 4 years later, we kind of have the game out. It's very challenging to kind of, because we wanted to do something different. Like our last few games were platform games, so it's kind of you know, there's a lot of those games that you can kind of look at and borrow inspiration from, but this time we kind of wanted to do something new, trying to mix the two genres together. So there's a lot of work and iteration to kind of make that actually make sense and be fun to play, and for the two sides of the game to kind of work cohesively together, because for a long time they kind of felt like separate games and they weren't really impacting each other.
Well, what were your thoughts about the fans' reception of the Lamb and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's been insane just seeing how many people are buying the game, how many people are loving it. We've seen like so much fan art, and like even here at PAX, like since so many different people in Lamb cosplays walking around and coming to pay tribute at the Shrine of the Lamb, which has been amazing to see. Yeah, it's been pretty overwhelming, like way beyond anything we could have hoped for, but yeah, it's been very exciting and very humbled.
Is there a name for the Lamb himself?
The Lamb doesn't really have a name. We like to call him the Lamb, but the community has kind of named him Lambert, which is a little bit silly if you ask me, but you know, the community does what the community wants, and we'll allow it, but from our perspective, he's called the Lamb. You know, we like the idea of him being a kind of mysterious, unnamed vessel for the crown, rather than having a specific name.
To be like the player himself. So
exactly.
Instead of being a character, you're the Lamb himself.
You kind of project yourself onto the Lamb, and you kind of be the kind of cult leader that you want to be. You know, you could be an evil cult leader and sacrifice all your followers, and when they die you could chop them up and feed them to your other followers, or you could be a lovely cult leader and treat them really well and feed them well and look after them.
Is there any plans for a Cult of the Lamb 2, or is there any future games that you're working on?
Not currently. Currently, I think because you know, the game's only been out for sort of 2 months now, nearly. So we're very much focusing on Cult of the Lamb now, trying to, you know, make sure, iron out any last remaining bugs and just work on content update. So rather than moving directly on to, like, say, a Cult of the Lamb 2, we want to kind of grow the existing game. If you look at games like Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon and Dead Cells, they've grown so much compared to what their original launch version of the game was. So we're kind of looking at it that way, rather than trying to, like, you know, get another $30 out of people for another game. We want to kind of improve the base game and make it better and add more content that way.
Where can you get this game from?
So it's out on Steam now and all consoles, so pretty much everywhere. Yeah, it's good to go. So go on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam. You can get it on Mac as well. So yeah, it's out now. Yeah, and we're going to continue working on the game as well. So we're going to be doing free updates, free content updates to kind of flesh out the game, add more things for players to do, add more depth. We really want to grow it from here because, you know, the game's had such an amazing reception.
So there you have it, folks. Make sure you go on the site, go check out Cult of the Lamb for those who enjoy all that stuff. If you love that stuff, definitely do check it out. It's a pleasure to meet you as always.
You too.
Well folks, there you have it. That's all our interviews we have today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, well, you know what to do. Stay tuned folks for the next video. Catch you later.